even before the Europeans arrived, the Aztecs were doing horrific shit to each other. Like in the consecration of the temple of, is it Tenochtitlan?
Mm-hmm.
Where they killed one of a Spanish chronicler named Diaz said that they killed as many as 80,000 people over 4 days. They sacrificed them. Like this is not like a balanced living with nature civilization we're talking about, the Aztecs. They were doing some wild shit, man.
They had survived much longer than the Europeans had.
I understand that, but they had survived by enslaving people and ritually sacrificing them.
So that's your European story.
But okay,
that's a European seeing a system and projecting its belief of its own broken relationship with nature and everything else.
But do you think that they had a harmonious connection with nature by sacrificing slaves?
I can't defend that because I wasn't there to experience it, but I'll tell you a different story that might make you question it.
Please do.
Because for me to tell you what the Aztecs were, that's a bullshit story.
Well, how can
I can't
we know?
tell you. But in my own lived experience with tribes in that exact area, when I spend time with them, my antenna goes wide. I start to sense this bigger reality.
Uh-huh.
And if you look deeper at the stories of the Aztecs, so one of the classic things that they did human sacrifice in was their sports. And so they had a game that looked a lot like some combination of soccer and basketball. And so they had a little tiny ball that they could strike with any part of their body except their hands. So they couldn't throw
The
it.
Mayans did that, right?
Yeah. And so the Mayans have this sport, and they've got this tiny little hoop way up on the wall of the playing field, which were huge. They're like, as big as your lacrosse field or something like this. And so they got these huge fields in the middle of these pyramidic, structures of stone, and way up on the wall of one of these would be this tiny little hoop that was hardly bigger than the ball itself. And you had to like bump it with your shoulder or kick it through that little hoop. The games would last for days. It was kind of like your, some version of your British sports that go on and on. But at any rate, the winner would be then taken to the front, and the captain of the team would be beheaded.
Yeah, not a lot of incentive.
Not a lot of incentive.
Not a lot of incentive to score.
The incentive
That's why the games
isn't,
took for fucking ever. That's why they lasted days.
But what
Nobody
if
wanted
the
to win.
incentive was it they didn't want to win, or was the incentive not to stay alive?
Well, the kings weren't cutting their own heads off if someone won, right? They were cutting the heads off of the guy who was the winner, and probably reluctantly. Because, I mean,
we can make all kinds of suppositions.
Sure, I mean,
but
maybe they were looking forward to being sacrificed. It's very possible.
I think that's an
but
interesting
human
possibility.
instincts don't align with that. Human instincts align with people try to avoid death whenever possible.
I totally agree that while we're still veiled between the five senses that make us think that things end at
I understand,
life.
but if you're advocating for a world where it's okay to kill 80,000 slaves at the consecration of a temple that you probably didn't build in the first place, because one of the problems with the Aztec temples is they don't claim they built them. They found them. They found them already built. And they literally call them the place where the gods were born. Like some of these incredible structures were built who knows how much longer before the Aztecs were there. They describe it. They don't say they built them.
No, they inhabited them, same with Egypt. It was
Yeah.
built thousands of years before the modern Egyptians showed up.
Likely.
So
The Egypt one is a little more complicated, because there's so much of it and it's so big. It's like it's not that the Aztec one isn't complicated, because it certainly is. So is the Mayan one. I've only been to Mayan pyramids. I've been to Chichen Itza. It was fucking incredible. It's insane. You just try to wrap your head around what this society must have been like.
What was it like?
At its peak. But that's also the belief, is that these people encountered European diseases as well. That's why they just sort of dropped off and vanished, just like the Amazons.
So I think there's a risk of us imprinting our current belief systems on a distant past that we can't remember.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, they don't really know what happened to the Mayans.
That's where I'll say
There's a lot of guessing. But the predominant theory, I think, is disease.
And so I don't want to leave people hanging and think that I'm out to create a new humanity where it's okay to kill 80,000 people.
I don't think you're saying that.
I'm interested in a situation where the concept of killing goes away. The concept of death becomes reverent. The concept of death no longer is seen as an endpoint. The concept of death becomes an evolution, not an endpoint. This is what all indigenous people, you spend some time in Nepal, go to Tibet, their whole culture is in reverence to death.